The Zevani were an ancient people, their scales shimmering like polished obsidian under the dying light of their crimson sun. Once they had sung to their gods in great crystal halls, offered up sacrifices of crystal water and molten gems, built vast monuments that pierced the upper clouds. But the gods had gone silent millennia ago, or so the Zevani believed. Their temples fell into ruin, their songs turned to empty echoes, and their people drifted into quiet despair. They learned to trust only cold logic and machinery, constructing towering machines that extracted the last breaths of warmth from their freezing world. No more prayers, no more hopes. Only survival. When humanity's first expedition ship arrived, most Zevani dismissed it as another scrap of cosmic drift. They watched with glassy eyes as the humans emerged, weak and pink-skinned, clad in flame-orange suits and hauling primitive tools. Among them was Captain Mara Valen, a woman known for her reckless bravery and her bright, infectious laugh. She saw the Zevani from a distance, standing atop their machine scaffolds like silent gargoyles. Her crew urged caution, whispering of old war records and the rumors of Zevani hostility. But Mara only grinned and stepped forward with a torch in hand, an actual torch, fire burning bright against the frozen wind. The Zevani hissed and recoiled. Fire was anathema to them. They had forsaken it along with their gods, regarding it as a savage relic. But Mara carried it proudly, letting the flame dance above her head as if it were a living companion. "This world is cold," she called out, her voice echoing against the spires of dark metal. "But it doesn't have to be." The Zevani elders gathered, their ridged faces unreadable, their long cloaks whispering against the ice. They demanded she extinguish the flame, denouncing it as primitive and chaotic. Mara refused. She built a small campfire outside their largest city, sitting there alone in the endless night, feeding the flames with scraps from her ship. The Zevani watched in growing fascination, unable to look away. Her crewmates soon joined her, laughing, cooking small meals over the fire, singing songs that rose into the star-scattered sky. Slowly, some of the Zevani youth approached, curiosity outweighing fear. Mara welcomed them with open hands. She showed them how the fire warmed not just the skin but the spirit, how its glow could make even the coldest night feel alive. One young Zevani named Aresh, whose scales were pale from malnutrition, reached a claw toward the flame, trembling. Mara guided his hand closer, showing him how to feel heat without pain. His eyes widened, reflecting the flickering orange light like twin lanterns. Word spread through the city. More Zevani gathered each night, first in silence, then in whispers. They watched as Mara and her crew built small braziers, as they told stories of human ancestors who carried fire through endless darkness, who fought and survived because they believed in something greater than themselves. The Zevani elders tried to forbid it, but soon their own kin were bringing small shards of metal to melt and reshape around the human flames. New tools appeared. New songs emerged, tentative at first, then swelling in strength. Mara told them of Earth's old mythologies, of Prometheus who stole fire from the gods to give to humanity, of phoenixes reborn in flame, of small tribes that carried embers across entire continents because those embers meant life. The Zevani listened with rapt attention, their minds awakening to forgotten feelings. One night, as a violent storm threatened to obliterate the outer city, the humans and Zevani worked side by side to build giant walls of heated stone. Flames roared atop the parapets, guided by Mara's steady hands and the Zevani's precise metal shaping. When the storm hit, it crashed against their defenses but failed to breach. The Zevani stood shoulder to shoulder with humans, their scales glowing faintly in the firelight, their voices rising in a new chorus. And when the winds died, they looked to Mara as though she were a prophet. An elder fell to his knees before her, scales shivering in the dawn. "We thought our gods abandoned us," he rasped. "But you brought us warmth, you brought us faith." Mara knelt and touched his forehead gently. "Your gods were never gone. They've been waiting for you to believe in yourselves again. Fire is not just heat. It's a promise that tomorrow can be brighter than today." After that, the Zevani began to rebuild their temples, this time not to distant, silent gods but to the living force of fire and the shared spirit between species. They invited humans into their sacred halls, their songs echoing with fierce joy. Children played with small hearths, learning to shape metals with their claws and create jewelry and tools that shimmered like fallen stars. The once silent cities now blazed with light. Great towers rose, crowned with braziers that never extinguished, seen from orbit like bright beacons in the dark void. Other alien races heard of the reborn Zevani, and came to witness the miracle. A civilization resurrected not through war or conquest, but by a single human's belief in warmth, in story, in spirit. Captain Mara Valen's name became a legend, woven into Zevani myths as the flame-bearer, the one who carried the spark that rekindled a frozen world's heart. Even after Mara passed away decades later, the fires never went out. Every night, Zevani and humans gathered around the central hearth, singing of stars, of lost gods, and of a woman with a torch who reminded them that faith was not about worshipping distant figures, but about choosing to believe in each other, in tomorrow, and in the fire that lives inside every heart. In the end, they had abandoned their gods, but it took a human's gentle defiance and roaring flame to remind them that the true divine spark had always been waiting inside them, aching to be lit.